Then, using example, you see, the body mind, you, in your view, the way you think, the way you believe, your body mind is like a piece of rope on the road, piece of rope that's curled like a snake, piece of different color rope, curled. Namchola means the way it appears to you. The body mind is like a piece of rope, the piece of color, piece of different color rope, kind of curled. That's the appearance. Then you see, believing, then you label, because where it's curled, different color, where it's curled, then you see in the category, somebody who don't have clear eye, or in the shimmering time, night, evening time, after sunset, so oh, that's snake, oh, that's snake. See, then by labeling snake and believing to your level, snake, oh, then you get afraid, then you get frightened, but there's no snake there. You see, you can't have a snake from the tip of the hairs down to what? The piece of rope, every piece of every hair you look, snake, there's no snake there. But you could label with the night, in the time, not dusk time, or different color, the wear curled. Oh, snake, you label. The appearance, the snake, oh yeah, then you get fear, terror. You see? So like that. The body mind is again not I. It's not I. I told you yesterday, Rinpoche said, it's not I. You remember I told you? But you see, you labeled I on that. You see, in the belief that's I. Oh, then you see, like you label snake, and the fear comes. Oh, like that. Oh, it's not I. What am I? Not I. It's the base to label, but it's not I. You remember I mentioned M. It's the basis to label M. There's the base. M is to what is to be labeled. Taxi, base to label. And M is taxi, what is labeled. Two not separate things, but two different things. You remember I told you, I get two different things, but not separate. And you must know that. Must know that, otherwise then you get caught wrong, hallucination, wrong concept. So you see, so then you believe the bottom and your eye. You know, that's the eye. Then all the worry, fear, everything from that hallucination, wrong concept, the hallucination there. Oh, the ignorance, then all the fear, you see, all the wrong, all the fear that comes, you see. Oh, like that. Then you see, from that, by believing that it's I, you call, then you believe that it's I, then you see the suffering pain, suffering change, erase come out, suffering samsara, all the suffering samsara, all comes in the three. So, all that, then you experience all that suffering. So, from beginning it's rebirth up to now, we were suffering. You know, this, who meant we suffer is by this wrong concept, ignorance. In the belief your mind, your body and mind is I. You understand? You should know that. So that wrong concept made you suffer from beginning to rebirth. Then again, if you don't realize the emptiness of this life, then again, without end, samsara, without end, it's a wrong concept. Ignorance makes you suffer. Like by labeling snake, a piece of rope, curl, snake, into get all fear. But a snake you can't find it, snake's not there. So that's the hallucination, you see. This is a very good meditation. So the different examples how to meditate. So there are many. So there are many, but some plus I don't know. There's so many teaching, but laziness I didn't study. So on that, so I just give you some to meditate on. You understand? Easy one. That's your wrong concept. Ignorance, the suffer, theta, suffering, pain, suffering, from beginning to then again, without end. You don't realize emptiness. You don't study subject on emptiness. The true truth. So, danger. Therefore, you need to study. You need to meditate. Okay. So I stop here. That's good. So I want to tell you this. You see, example, we meditated, or I mentioned many times, when you think how the eye is created by the mind, you know, the very beginning, how the eye is created by the mind. You know, focusing on the valid aggregates, and then that mind made up the label, merely in between the eye, you see. So eye is nothing else other than that. Nothing, even the atom. More than that, even atom doesn't exist, hallucination. More than that, even atom, size of atom, hallucination. So just that's what is merely labeled by the mind, what the eye is. And so you see, so therefore, as I said, the I is not nihilism, because total doesn't exist, not that. Meditation not there. But it's like that, but it's not that exactly. I exist in mere name. Most unbelievable subtle how the I exists. Most unbelievable subtle. Okay? So all the rest of phenomena, enlightenment, health, samsara, nirvana, happiness, problem, everything which exists are like that. Subtle, unbelievable subtle. Unbelievable subtle. So everything is empty. Everything is empty. So you understand, doesn't mean non-existence. Doesn't mean non-existence. Everything is non-existence, nothing. I told you already. So everything empty, do not exist. Empty or empty by existing from society. Do not exist by itself. Empty do not exist by itself. By itself. It exists in mere name, mere level by mind, but not exist by itself. You understand? Do not exist at all by itself. Oh, so while the eye is existing, it's empty. While it is existing, it is empty. The eye is empty. You understand? While the eye is existing, while the eye is empty, it is existing. You understand? Common is a unified emptiness and existence. Unified in emptiness and existence. You understand? You have to go that idea in your mind. Otherwise you're lost. If you don't come put together, you're lost. Then not sure then what you meant emptiness is not just emptiness. You were lost. You couldn't come to this point where the true truth. How to exist, true truth are related to each other. So unify each other, not to contradict each other. So for example, when strong anger comes, one strong. For example, you have a meeting, just using that. So they criticize you. Then you get angry. It's emotional mind, emotional eye. You create your ignorance, create your emotional eye, which is not there. Truly existent eye, which is not there. Real eye, which is not there. You see, we've been talking for so many days. Not there, but you see, your ignorance creates a real eye. So, you see, but then anger comes. You see, suddenly you go back. Suddenly you go back. You see, the eyes, nature of the eye is immediately able to by mind. Suddenly you go back. That you are getting too much angry. So, the eye is middle level by mind. When you look at the mind go inside, you see, the check how the eye is middle level by mind. Do you think that? Concentrate. Eye is middle level by mind, using the reality. Not let it distracted and the ignorance realize. Then you see, he's criticizing me, the real eye. You know, can take this, then you get angry. Oh, there's a calm down. There's the eye. It's merely imputed by the mind. So mention on that. When you mention that, it's gone. Anger is gone. Anger is gone. Anger is gone. You see? Anger is gone. There's no space for anger. Because that's right, that's correct. So there's no reason to get angry. You see? With believe the emotional eye, the real eye, emotional eye, yes, the anger, you can get. As I mentioned, Lama talks, then you discriminate the bad good, then attachment anger, you see? All the sufferings, you create all the sufferings, you see? So anger is gone. Oh, you must know, you must do that, you must know that. Oh. So this is, you're the inner science, inner scientist, you're inner meditator. Oh. See? So, you see, it the mental emptiness, his eyes depend on subtle depend, or eliminates anger. Eliminates anger. Ah, you have done that. So same thing, strong attachment, strong grasping mind. Again, other that person whom you are strong attachment, or your eye, merely level by mind. To the eye, merely level. You went to that. So attachment gone. Strong grasping attachment gone. That creates unbelievable problem to you, to many people. It's gone. Understand? Not on that, then man, they went to the eyes is man. Or also it eliminates the ignorance. Mention that is 100%. Ignorance, believing emotional I, the real I. And then, by believing on that, then fear all the time. You see? Ignorance. So now, exists in me. Understand? Oh, you see, it became totally opposite. It's like like water on the fire, you know? It's kind of sort of a opposite remedy to ignorance, to remedy to the ignorance. Ignorance is it harms the ignorance, it destroys the ignorance. So then pride is then what all the delusions, emptiness, meditation, becomes a remedy to all the delusions. You understand? Like that. Even though that the patient, so much attachment, you look at the suffering of the mistakes of the object, and then you lose the attachment. You look at the impure, bad mistakes, then lose the attachment to the anger, then you meditate patience on the. Then go through anger. It's a different delusion, that different methods. But mental emptiness helps everything. It's the antidote to all the delusion. You understand? You have to know that. You have to know that. It's clear. You understand? It's so easy. How important the meditation on emptiness. That negates all the delusion. You understand? Please understand this. So easy. Then I mentioned one thing. Sorry. Okay. I'm supposed to stop before. I'm supposed to. How many minutes? 2 minutes. Then while I'm talking to you, finish few seconds. Okay. All right. Nagarjuna said, Tenjang Dewa Juani Tongna Temu Jungmenjur. Teje Babakunji Ditandukona Nyaba Cha. The dependent rising, the subtle dependent rising. If you see the dependent rising, then ignorance won't rise. If you see the dependent rising, then ignorance won't rise. Therefore, with all the effort, then Yeah, I got to never tell them we're going to give it. It's good. So then, therefore, always you be happy. Always this talk dependent on life. Always self-dependence. The middle level by the mind. You know, I exist because there's a valid base. They say. Then, yeah, because there's valid base to level I. That's why I exist. So middle level I depend. Due to that, middle level I, merely imputed I. Due to that, valid base, the middle level I is a merely imputed I. So, you see, all that is a subtle dependentizing. So all the phenomena like that. Of course, it doesn't appear to us everything true like this, but wrong, hallucination. Then the corner was so you meditate emphasize only the different middle level this one. Then you when you think it's rising, middle level, everything's empty. Then you realize everything's empty, do not exist from the inside. You understand? That's so important. You understand? That's so important. So Yamabai mentioned one of the meditations is that male level eye, male level eating, male level food. You know, one meditation is always like this. Male level working, male level road, male level eye. So everything motivated. So see, so much everything's empty. Comes out. Yeah, didn't catch it. 깨와 당니 총 바닥 담아바다 뭐다 되지 깨와 당니 지줄 양 깨와 매대 치매 별 관계 샤브 주라이 띵띵띵 예매가 even the death, even the rebirth and death, even even there's birth and death, even birth and the death happening, but there's not birth and death. So for us, birth, real birth, birth, death, rebirth, real death, real what, true existing by nature, existing from its own side, real death, but young, but reality, there is no birth and death. That means real birth and death, real one from there, do not exist. You understand? Do not exist. You're so afraid. In the world. I mean, some are not afraid because of good heart. Even the rumble ring and come, but so good heart, think of others. They're not afraid. And of course, Bill ring and come. Then, good heart. I mean, of course, without Buddha, but good heart. There's no fear of death. And, so happy. When you die, because you have option to go pure light. So all the benefits, all the qualities of pure light. So happy to go. Well, yes, I mentioned. Then no worry, no fear. Mind happy. You get born again, human being. No, you see, no happy, no fear, worry at all. Happy to death. Then the last one, third one, no worry. All of that. So then that's regrettable loss. No. So but you see, because the most people, most is animals, most of them, after death, well, that's the biggest fear. Always we try to alive, to not die. Always we put effort to not die. So the people in the city, whenever they get a little time from job, when after stop job, then they go juggling around the city, juggle for hours like this to be alive, to not die, or to not die. You understand? All around, bicycles going around, the hours all they do not die. You understand? You got that idea. So in the reality, there's such thing, real. Real. It's not saying there's no burden, but that's not real. That you believe. It's so there's no real birth and death. You understand? So the realizing this, that meditation, things in the concept, this meditation, multiple tranche. Then I read. Dala did the last one. Dala Puya Noriya Che, the people is in the world. Oh, I have a son. I have a child. Then the child gets, then your child, then your daughter, son get another child. What do you call grandchildren? Oh, grandchild, I have grandchild, real, something real, you see? I have wealth, I have $1 billion, $1 zillion, wealth, wow, I have son, wealth, I have child, and I'm I'm real, wow. Jivan is somebody. Jivan is somebody. This doesn't mean child, but you said child as the example. But the child, meaning child, this middle meaning child is ordinary being who don't realize emptiness, who can't believe the hallucination is real. Every hallucination is real, who believe, who don't realize that this hallucination. Every hallucination is real. Oh, that's a child, Like child, you stretch your leg, you put sand on top, then you say, this is my house. Then some of the children destroy that. Or the children cry. You understand? Children, that nonsense. So, you see, believe all the hallucinations is real. The child. Chivanam is separate, all child in that. The reality, Dajan Dala Yamina, put them non kaji. Even the eye doesn't have an eye. There's no real eye. There's no real eye, actually. So, how can it be possible? There's a sun in this world. So there's no real sun, there's no real world. So even there's no real eye, how is it possible? There's a real child, real world. There's real money, You understand? Oh. But don't know the class. Then you have if there's no I, a mind, mind. How is it possible? There's no mind. My body, my mind. It is no I, so there's no real I. So there's no real my body, real mind. My real mind, real body, real mind, real mind. Real not like this. Then you have a mind that you are. The concept is ignorance. Believing that the real I and real mind is that one that ceases by actual emptiness. Oh, then you see, the cause of samsara is a delusion karma which creates samsara. Or then, when that finishes, then you have no rebirth in samsara. You don't get reborn in samsara. Then you're forever you're free from some oceans of samsara. All the suffering pain, suffering change, suffering change, progressive compound suffering. Okay, so finito. So I think the emptiness, that's enough. Oh, that's I just talk about a little drop, but there's a vast study, monks, monasteries, nuns, study for many years. Oh, that. So anyway,